This is The Great Outdoors with Jason White, exploring the great outdoors in Pennsylvania and beyond. Brought to you by the Mariana Outdoorsmen Association and by Wild Acres Farm, Fishery, and Regulated Hunting Grounds. Now, The Great Outdoors with Jason White.
Hello friends, I'm Jason White. Welcome to The Great Outdoors. Have a good show lined up for you today. But I want to start off by giving a special thanks to our sponsors, the Mariana Outdoorsmen Association. Currently, you can join the MOA today at MarianaOutdoors.com. Again, it's MarianaOutdoors.com. Running a special through the duration of summer, 30% discounts for memberships. Memberships are then valid throughout the calendar year. Also, just want to highlight and note about the MOA. Got a lot of projects going on, which I'm going to talk about a little bit in this show. And 1,000-yard rifle range, multiple pistol ranges, 5-stand, hundreds of acres of upland bird hunting. Birds are stocked weekly starting in the fall, dove hunting, and approximately 2.5 miles of trophy trout fishing, and many other amenities as well. Wild Acres Farm, Fishery, and Regulated Hunting Grounds, managed by 10 Mile Creek Outfitters. You can book a guided fishing trip. You can book a wild turkey hunt, a wild free-ranging white-tailed deer hunt, and last but not least, an upland bird hunt. All the above, no fence, no fence, no fence. You can give us a call at 724-579-0924 or go to the website at 10mileco.org. That is TENMILECO.org, and book a hunt this upcoming fall or even next spring, or book a blast and cast, a hunt and fishing trip. Lots of different options depending on the time of the year, but certainly we are more than happy to have you. And last but not least, Washington County Tourism and Promotion Agency. Please visit Washington County. They're certainly big supporters of us. Wild Acres Farm is located partially in Washington County, and actually a little bit stretches into Greene. We got a good footprint here within the, I would say, Pittsburgh, Morgantown, Laurel Highlands, and even Wheeling markets, all within a, I would say a 90-minute drive of all those different locations, if not much closer. But yeah, come check us out. Look, tucked down in the foothills, southwestern Pennsylvania. Happy to have you, either at the Mariana Outdoorsman Association or Wild Acres Farm, Fishery, and Regulated Hunting Grounds. That being said, I want to go over some really cool upcoming events for the Mariana Outdoorsman Association. Have an event tomorrow, which is Thursday from 6 to 9 p.m. That's the 11th of July. It's an agriculture, conservation, and energy happy hour. So it's free to everybody. So if in any capacity you're a supporter of any of those ideas, hopefully you would, because we all eat food. So anybody that is a supporter of agriculture, conservation, or energy, it's just a happy hour, kind of just getting people together as a networking opportunity. Thanks to all of our supporters and sponsors. This particular event is sponsored by Americans for Prosperity and also the U.S. Oil and Gas Alliance. I'm really excited about this. It'll be at Kodiak's Barn and Grill, 1001 Gutman Boulevard, Charleroi, Pennsylvania, 15022. It's from 6 to 9 p.m. Again, that's Kodiak's Barn and Grill, 1001 Gutman Boulevard, Charleroi, Pennsylvania, 15022. If you've never been there, it is literally right off of Interstate 70. You would literally get right off the exit at Spears, and it's right off the exit. It is right off the exit. Super convenient, super easy to get to, whether you're coming from Fayette, Westmoreland, Washington, Greene, or even farther from Allegheny, etc. Right off the major highways. So again, it's a free event, great networking opportunity for everybody. I want to extend an invitation to everybody, even everybody here at the radio station. Hopefully some faces will pop in and get something to eat and network a little bit. But that is this Thursday at Kodiak's Barn and Grill. Happy to see everybody, 6 to 9 p.m. This is a free event. This Saturday, kind of piggybacking on this event, so the The meet and greet happy hour was spearheaded by the Marion Outdoorsman Association and also the Fayette County Farm Bureau. And as I said, it was sponsored by Americans for Prosperity and also the U.S. Oil and Gas Alliance. This upcoming Saturday, our relationship, the unification and collaborations between agriculture and conservation continue. Cedarbrook Golf Course, which is located right off of Route 51 and Interstate 70, near Belle Vernon, Pennsylvania. There will be a golf outing hosted by the Marion Outdoorsman Association and the Fayette County Farm Bureau. I'm really excited about this. Farm Bureau is doing a lot of new and innovative things and trying to, branch out into different areas, even things like golf. Most people don't realize, but there is a tremendous amount of agriculture products, from fertilizers, seed, even equipment that is utilized at a golf course. And it's little things like that as to how we build partnerships, collaborations, friendships, to get things done in the future and raise awareness to issues that impact the agricultural and conservation sectors, not only within the state of Pennsylvania, but beyond. And, just really excited for this. Again, it's this Saturday, 9 a.m., Cedarbrook Golf Course. Be starting at 9 a.m. Registration will be from we'll be opening it up at 7 till 8:45, and then we'll get everybody out on the course, have a great time. Got some great games. Going to be, I think, a fun time, but I'm really, really looking forward to it. So I want to give a special thanks to the Fayette County Farm Bureau and all the volunteers associated with it that have been so helpful. Again, that is this Saturday, 9 a.m., Cedarbrook Golf Course. Please, stay tuned. And if you need any information about either of these upcoming events, both of them are listed on the Marion Outdoorsman Association's Facebook page. And also you can go to marianaoutdoors.com. Looking ahead at the fall, Saturday, October the 5th is tentatively the first trout stalking. By all means, we certainly need some water before then. That goes without being said. This is kind of unreal. I saw some of the statistics yesterday, and we've gotten for the past 2 months, compared to historical numbers, about 50% of what we typically get. So it is really bad, and, mentioning about the lack of rain, it is extremely important to be extremely cognizant about having a fire or even cookouts, or people that smoke cigarettes, so on and so forth. Make sure without a doubt that if you have any type of embers or fires or anything like that, make sure that it is properly put out or properly disposed of. The last thing you want in these types of conditions, all it takes is a spark. And next thing you know, somebody's yard could be on fire, house, farmer's field. I know from experience, just people throwing a cigarette butt out a window on a car, goes into on the edge of the road. Next thing you know, a woodlot or something right on the side of a road is just fully engulfed in fire. So it's something with the current conditions. I cannot stress it enough. Put out fires. If you can avoid that scenario until we get a little damper conditions, highly recommended. But if you're going to have a fire, make sure you put it out properly. Cigarettes, dispose of them properly. Don't present an opportunity for a wildfire or something even worse where somebody could be injured or killed. Looking ahead, also Friday, October 18th, the Fayette County Farm Bureau is going to be hosting. It's their second, I guess we could call it second annual Continental Pheasant Hunt. It's a fundraiser. Anybody's welcome to attend. It'll be held at Wild Acres Farm. That is a Friday. Tentatively, the time is at 9 a.m. The information for this is on the Wild Acres Farm Facebook page. So if you want to check that out. Also, we will be sharing information on the Marion Outdoorsman Association as well regarding this particular event. But as of right now, trying to shoot somewhere between 40 to 60 shooters. We'll definitely not be all in the same groups, so there will be smaller subgroups that people will go out. This is an actual tower shoot. Basically, there's towers set up, and the birds will be launched from those different positions. And it's just a unique and different way to do a hunt. So really looking forward to that. Excited to have them. And Saturday, October 19th, this is a gun. There's going to be a gun and cash bash hosted at 19 North event venue located in Washington, Pennsylvania. If you've never been there, fantastic facility. We're going to be the first bash of this size in this particular venue. It's a multi-story building. It's right off the main drag. It's about a half a block from the courthouse, and it's catty corner to President's Pub. Lots of public parking there. Whether it's street parking, there's parking lots in front and behind the venue. So again, that is Saturday, October 19th. We do have tickets available. We're actually going to be selling them at all of our upcoming events. Really looking forward to this. This is also a collaboration between the U.S. Oil and Gas Alliance and the Mariana Outdoorsman Association. So if you're a supporter of conservation and energy, this is certainly a fantastic event for you. I'm really looking forward to it, really excited, because I can tell you, the money that the Mariana Outdoorsman is raising, we're putting it back into habitat and conservation efforts. We're doing a lot of work and have a lot of plans when it comes to habitat work on streams. And I'm gonna go into that today a little bit as far as what we're doing right now and kind of where we're headed. But the last event I wanted to acknowledge for the year is Sunday, December 15th. That is the 2024 winter fly fishing. It's a one-day tournament that we're going to be hosting at the Mariana Outdoorsman Association. So that information is at Mariana Outdoorsman Association at Facebook, and you can also go to marianaoutdoors.com for anything else as well. So I kind of wanted to give a little bit of an update on some legislative things really quickly. I know in past shows I've been talking a lot about the crop damage, Sunday hunting bills, so on and so forth. Different versions came out of the House of Representatives as opposed to the State Senate. They both passed. So now there will end up being some type of a reconciliation before, hopefully, then it'll go on to the governor's desk. Hopefully that will happen over this summer, which is fantastic news. If that happens, I would expect basically when the Board of Commissioners meets next calendar year, don't quote me, but I want to say it's approximately April, May, they would get together and then, these new opportunities for the additional Sundays and also the other items that are being addressed in the packages from access programs for more property for hunters, amending the red tag rules and how that's all handled, and also the increased penalties for trespass. That would all, basically go into effect. The trespass would go into effect immediately. That's more of a, an amended law change that would go directly into Title 34 of the Game and Trapping Laws of Pennsylvania. So that you would see as soon as the governor signs off on it, basically that would happen. So that's actually something that if it does happen before hunting season, as far as I'm aware and I understand it, that you will see go into effect this year. The other items, depending on how they get rolled out between the Board of Commissioners of the Game Commission and just how these programs, I guess, are all going to jive and pull out, I would say you're not going to see these other items really go into effect until 2025. But on a positive note, it's all happening. Everything's headed in a positive direction. I'm excited because it took us a lot of time and effort between the Farm Bureau and also other entities and organizations. And when I say effort, a lot of these things started with conversations and ideas. Somebody bumping into somebody at an event, us having conversations about different ideas at meetings, and it was just an evolving. I would say it was kind of like a snowball going down a hill, and as it kind of went down, it grew and grew and grew, and it was a lot of. I will say there was a tremendous amount of listening, because the reason this whole package came together is, a lot of the Farm Bureau policies and things that should and need to be done that are in the best interest of Pennsylvania for far too long had gone ignored. So this was simply a great opportunity to say, hey, some of these other items need to be looked at, addressed, no longer ignored. And, because of everybody talking to each other, everybody listening to each other, having open dialogue and conversation, that's how this was able to happen. So I'm really thankful of everybody involved, number one. Number two, I'm really excited about the future, because if this is a precedent of what's to come, or the capabilities of what could come, that's really exciting. It's really exciting to have people of differing views, opinions, backgrounds, people from Pennsylvania as a whole, such a broad and diverse place, for people to be open and to compromise, have discussions, figure out ways and means that we could, resolve our differences for the best interests of, agriculture, hunting, private property owner rights, so on and so forth. It's all positives. So I'm really looking forward to the future. We have some things I know for a fact. So these packages are going to address Title 34, which is the game and trapping laws. That does not address Title 18. I've been a huge advocate about this. It is very, very important that whatever we do with 34 needs to be almost mimicked as best as possible over to Title 18. I think that is extremely critical. It's very important, and we can definitely get there. It's just a matter of again, same premise as last time. Start talking about it. Let's get this going. Hopefully, these packages are going to go through and get approved by by both the House and Senate. And once the governor signs off on it, that gives you kind of the template of what could be then mimicked over to Title 18. Because there's no reason to reinvent the wheel. You can take the bulk of Title 34 then, as far as criminal trespass goes, when it comes to hunting, and mimic that over to the actual criminal code of Title 18. And that's basically the cookie cutter, I would say the cookie cutter template of how we get there. I'm a huge proponent of this. I personally feel that, I understand trespassing happens with hunters. I get it. But in my experiences, trespassing has predominantly not been hunters. It's been many, many other different things, arenas, so on and so forth. So I just feel that there needs to be a uniform standard. You can't pick and choose when to enforce that. You just can't target hunters. I think that's just ridiculous, and I just think it's unrealistic. I think there's a lot of other opportunities for properly addressing this, and we're taking the first appropriate steps here with Title 34, and then we're going to move on to Title 18. Also, permitting in Pennsylvania. Permitting in Pennsylvania is absolutely terrible. It's a convoluted and jaded process. Our goal is to target the general permits first and foremost. You have people reviewing permits that are unqualified to review permits. You have people inspecting construction after the approval processes who don't even know what they're looking at. They're not qualified, educated in regards to this. And I say this not as a slight or as an insult to anybody. I say this as true and utter fact. So we as a society can either accept those facts and address them in all of our best interests, or we could sit here and be pecked to death by a duck of the bureaucracy that is the Pennsylvania permitting situation. General permits should be simple. They should not take 60, 30, 60, 90 days to get an approval, number one. We have, it's called the PNDI system, PNDI. It's actually a great little automated, computerized screen that you can go on to, but it's only the first step of getting a permit. In my mind and in my vision, that would be kind of the one-stop shop. And when you hit submit along with your payment information, there would be drawings and schematics that would be available on the website that you could pick and choose, that would be pre-approved, pre-designed schematics. And obviously, once that's approved, all the appropriate agencies, so on and so forth, would be notified, and then they could do the inspections. Now, the next layer of this, which creates a problem, is, first of all, let's say you have a scenario where that doesn't happen, to where somebody wants to upload a different style of drawing. Well, then somebody's going to have to review it. Okay, who is that person? Who are those people, actually? That is a golden question. Who are those people? What are their qualifications? That's a huge problem. That is a huge problem. General permits, the people that are reviewing them, in many regards that I've seen, have no clue what they're looking at. They have their own open interpretations to what they're looking at, or the functions they're in, so on and so forth. They lack private sector experience. They lack hands-on construction, and I think that is really critical, because if you don't even know how to build or understand what you're approving, it's almost like, I don't know. It's almost like like you're just approving things that you don't truly understand or grasp the premise of how to even construct it. You're trying to tell somebody how to do something when you yourself do not know how to do it. And that is a combination of lack of experience, which I think is another problem with this whole premise. These folks that are reviewing this need more actual hard experience. Also, I think the training protocols for them as to what qualifies them to review permits totally needs looked at. I think they need better training programs. You look at, for example, DEP, deep mine safety. So if somebody wants to be an inspector in the state of Pennsylvania, you have to have 10 years of practical mining experience before you can even apply to be an inspector. I firmly believe in many capacities that some of these same ideas need mimicked over to how we look at these general permits. These folks need to come out of the private sector. Yeah, it's great to go to college. I think that's super important, because you get the basic foundation understanding of what you're doing, what you're looking at, the whole concepts. But you need to be out in the private sector doing some work for a period of time, then go into these permit review, permit approval, permit inspection areas. And that's the last piece of this, is people then coming out and looking at this stuff. Number one, again, didn't know what they were looking at up front, didn't understand the construction methods or how even a piece of equipment works. Like, do they even know how to run a backhoe? Do they even know how to run a skid steer? Do they understand the methodologies of even building this stuff? I would question, and I would say without a shadow of a doubt, the answer is unequivocally, they do not know. Not saying that there's nobody that doesn't know, but from my experience and what I've watched and seen and endured, the collective group, it's lackluster at best. And that's not going to get any better by everybody saying, well, permitting's terrible in Pennsylvania and us doing nothing about it. I mean, all that is simply the definition of insanity. I know the governor came out with a program about giving the money back if permits aren't approved in a set period of time. That's not the problem. The problem here is that these general permits, they don't even, most of them don't even need looked at. They should be automated, number one. Number two, when they are reviewed, because somebody wants to, change out a drawing or a schematic, the people that are reviewing them, yes, I do believe that there needs to be a set period of time, without a shadow of a doubt. That's a good thing. But the people that are reviewing them, do they even know and understand? Why do you need 3 different or 4 different layers of bureaucracy to review a general permit? That to me is insane. That to me is completely and utterly insane, especially when the people do not have adequate training, do not have adequate life experiences, do not understand what they're even doing. I mean, I shouldn't have an erosion tech person coming out to look, at fish habitat. I shouldn't have to explain this. I shouldn't have to. It just shouldn't happen. Again, I reference the mining industry. Yes, mining industry is a little different, but the basis of you have to have so many years of practical experience before you can go and then do the training program, which is months of training to even then be applicable to be an inspector. My concerns are, you have people coming out then on the back end that are doing inspections and have no clue what they're looking at. And I can tell you from firsthand experience, I've had numerous inspectors come out from different agencies and say, well, this isn't my expertise, I don't really know. Well, then in my opinion, what the heck are you doing here? All it is you're basically getting jerked around by the government, and it's not a fun experience. So farmers, people in the energy industry, people in the residential development areas, so on and so forth, the list goes on and on. These general permits have implications and impacts to everyone. Also, if you're a conservation-minded individual or a group or business that wants to just do some positive habitat work, these are things that you could do, but you then have to jump through these bureaucratic hurdles, which I think is ridiculous. We all sit here and say we want the environment to be better. We all sit here and complain about everything under the sun, about, I guess, whatever is being alleged in regards to the heat of the planet, so on and so forth. But we literally regulate ourselves to prevent positive progress when it comes to conservation and different habitat work. So I can assure you, from my experiences, it's an utterly insane process, and it's completely ridiculous. I think it needs overhauled and reformed to make everybody's lives easier and to make the premise of truly improving the environment a simple and positive thing for each and everybody here in Pennsylvania. So please take this all to heart, because if we want the state to get better, you cannot regulate yourself to the point you can't even take a positive step forward without taking 10 steps backwards. And that's where we are right now. So, and I say this all from firsthand experience. I do have education in different arenas. I do come from the mining industry. I have dealt with permits from application to construction to you name the gambit. I've been involved in it. So I can speak from firsthand experience on these matters. The permitting process in Pennsylvania is absolutely and utterly terrible. And we can't sit here and sing Kumbaya on a garbage process. It needs fixed. And the only way we're going to fix it is, again, same thing with these hunting bills that we were talking about earlier, or I should say crop damage and Sunday hunting, so on and so forth. It comes with a discussion. So, again, super excited about the opportunity for Title 18 with criminal trespass. Really excited about this permitting ideas. And I would also say game land development. I think that is extremely important. I myself manage property and properties, land, farms for wildlife. This is super critical because, as time kind of progresses, what I've come to learn is that the game lands are not managed in such a manner, right, wrong, or indifferent, which I would say wrong. It depends on your view, but I do not feel the game lands are managed adequately for wildlife. And And the reason I say that is, you could have 1,000 acres of just natural habitat, and if all of it around that area, then let's just say another 1,000 acres is farmlands. Well, I hate to burst anybody's bubble, but the deer and the wildlife are going to go to the soybean fields, the corn fields, the hay fields, the alfalfa and clover fields, the orchards, the list goes on and on. Deer and wildlife do not understand property lines. They could care less about what we view as a game lands as opposed to private land. They're going to go where, number one, they have cover and feel safe, and number two, food and water. If they have those three things, you're going to have lots of wildlife. But that being said, the game lands, there's a lot of opportunities with conservation-minded practices and approaches and habitat development to mimic more of the private lands, and whether that's installing literally hay fields, whether that's installing orchards, whether that's installing fields specifically to plant like upland bird mixtures, especially if it's a game land that stocks a lot of upland birds. That goes without saying. You got to have food for the birds. They need cover. So having things set up for what your target market is and what you're actually trying to do is extremely important. Management of the game lands, when you look at it, it's not just because there's a game lands and it's 1,000 acres. Well, we need to pursue the idea of zones within there so you can manage it. Like if you have upland birds, hypothetically, and let's say you have a game lands let's just say it's 1,000 acres, and you have a sector of that game land that's set up specifically for upland birds. So let's just say it's 200 acres. Well, that's where you should upland bird hunt. You shouldn't be like that area specifically should be for that purpose. Or if it's that or a combination of dove, migratory birds, so on and so forth. But those guys and gals should not be then going up into the hardwoods, up where the oak trees are, and prime areas for like whitetail hunting. This just comes down to management practices, signage, maps being established. Again, I do very similar things. We manage different areas for different purposes. It just takes a little bit of effort. You got to lay out a plan, and you just have to follow through. And don't get me wrong, not all of these ideas, even when it comes to habitat improvement, have to be implemented in a year. These are baby steps. These are things that can take, realistically, some of them can take years. You just take a bite of the elephant a little bit at a time. I mentioned about orchards. You go to a store, you go to a nursery, you could pay anywhere from $40 to $100 for an apple tree. You might have to make that investment up front until you get some trees growing. But then once you have enough trees growing, you can then learn to clone trees. I do this. You then clone the trees, and then what you do is you just take basically that clone and plant it, and you just keep sub-cloning off of your trees. So yes, you'll have an investment for a few years when it comes to, the trees, some fertilizer, even when you're talking about the screen and netting and fencing and posts that need to go around the trees to make sure that the wildlife doesn't destroy them. But once they really take off, then it presents the opportunity that now you don't have to go and make that investment at that $40, that $70, that $100 for a single tree. Now all you need is the little plastic cloning cups, a little bit of peat moss. You need the and then you can get it on Amazon or at different places. There's actually cloning gels, and there's just a very, very simple technique with removing a little bit of bark around a tree, and then you basically wrap that plastic cup, cloning cup, and also the peat moss, and within 3 to 6 months, you're gonna have a root ball, and then all you're doing is cutting the tree off, that limb off, and then you're just planting that, and then it will grow into a full-fledged tree. I've got right now, I want to say 18 that I have right now. And I'm talking trees that are producing right now in July, and trees that are going to produce all the way into December. Sustainable food sources that, you rather the deer, the groundhogs, so on and so forth, get into these wildlife in general. You'd rather them go and target these different orchard areas instead of going and destroying the cornfields. Instead of just, you're basically drawing them, you're providing them food sources and nourishment, basically in lieu of going and devouring a soybean field, going out into the neighbors, hay fields and totally devouring them. So that's, in my mind, that's the vision and goal of the game lands, is just to better manage them for wildlife, because that's what it is. It's for game. It's a game land. This isn't a wildlife sanctuary. I could understand if it was a wildlife sanctuary and we're just never hunting and basically there's just walking trails for people to just walk through, and like that's what you're looking at. That's not what this is. Game lands are for game. They're for people to hunt. That's the concept. So to be effective, the management of game lands is the different habitat opportunities, so on and so forth. Yes, there should be, if there's upland bird hunting at that particular game lands, then there should be a couple hundred acres specifically set up for that purpose. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Planted effectively and efficiently to provide what they need. They need to have water source, they need to have cover, and they need to have food. You have to have that for upland birds. Nothing more, nothing less. You have to have that. If you do not have that, what's going to happen is the birds are just going to leave. They're going to leave the property, number one. Number two, predators are definitely going to get them, which that raises a whole nother arena of conversation, or another aura, or another layer, or layers, I guess I should say. Predators are so bad in Pennsylvania, which is a whole nother discussion. But yeah, I cannot stress it enough. The practices of how we manage the game land certainly needs an overhaul and to be changed, but that goes without saying. So I'm looking forward to some open discussions with the Game Commission. I think there's a lot of positive opportunities there. It seems like the Game Commission is actually really open-minded to this whole idea of better managing the game lands for wildlife. So we'll see where it goes. I don't really understand how this wasn't happening. I don't understand. Clearly, somebody within the bureaucracy decided that, this is natural and this is how it should be, blah, 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 or whatever the rationale, excuse. It doesn't really matter, nor do I really care what the excuse is. This is what needs to be done. I can tell you from experience. I manage land specifically for wildlife. If you do not manage it, you're doing a complete disservice not only to yourself, but in this capacity, yeah, the game lands, they can go and buy up all the land they want. But if it's not managed, what do you think is going to happen? Well, guess what? The deer and wildlife are more likely going to be going to the surrounding properties where it is managed, where they do have access to green hay fields, where they do have access to soybean fields, corn. The list can go on and on and on. You understand what I'm saying? So we can't sit here and put a square peg into a round hole. We have to acknowledge, what does wildlife want? Food, water, cover. If we do not provide these things, that even at the game lands, because you have to remember, you have to have those things 12 months out of the year, if that's what you want to do, is hold the deer 12 months out of the year, or the wildlife. So to help avoid the crop damages, yeah, having more food available and plentiful at a game lands for summertime consumption is extremely important. So having July pep apple trees planted that drop a lot of food, those are great to have planted for the summertime. Fantastic opportunities to install some just grassy fields. It could be mixtures of clover and other things. But those are opportunities. There's a lot that can be done. There's a lot that can be done to provide food sources, even water sources, and then also I would go into cover areas where, depending on what part of the state of Pennsylvania, whether you just want to create some shrub areas, get some areas clear cut to create some thickets, get some areas to have even some pine trees planted. The list can go on and on and on. The varieties and diversity of habitat on game land is astronomically critical, and it needs to be managed, and it needs to be managed to be diverse, to hold, feed, provide cover for wildlife 365 days a year. Otherwise, it presents the negative opportunities to where you're going to get crop damage on surrounding farms. And the statistic is true that approximately 85% of all deer are killed on private property, not on game lands. That says a lot right there. That statistic came from the Pennsylvania Game Commission. So, if we need to strive to just make some changes, but I'm really excited about, everything going on between events, upcoming collaborations with the Fayette County Farm Bureau, the U.S. Oil and Gas Alliance. Special thanks to the Americans for Prosperity for their sponsoring of this upcoming event. Really excited about the golf outing. Hope to see everybody this Thursday at Kodiak's Barn and Grill for the happy hour. Again, that's this Thursday, 6 to 9. And then this Saturday is the upcoming golf outing. Really excited about it. And then I'm going to be switching gears here, and I got to finish some work on our event venue at Wild Acres Farm, restoring a Civil War era barn. So I'm really looking forward to that. Really excited about it. Have some a youth program going on, teaching some kids. So I will keep everybody posted once the finalized product's happening, because we are certainly almost there. But I hope everybody has a great week. Have a blessed one. I'm Jason White. This is Great Outdoors, and I will talk to you next week.